So whether you're a performer, songwriter, engineer, this process matters a lot. So a lot of people think that recording starts when you open up a piece of software, but actually the quality of a recording starts much earlier. So it sort of starts with the writing, the arrangement, rehearsal, and performance of the song. You can't mix your way out of a weak performance or a messy arrangement. So as we've got here, so first step is writing the song, getting those initial ideas down. The melody, some lyrics. Even if you've got like an interesting drum fill or something like that, having those sort of initial ideas. I should say as well, this isn't a concrete, this isn't how you have to write a song or take it from idea to recording, but this is how me and my band generally take that path. So rehearsal, so getting together in a room with other musicians, you develop the ideas further, so you bounce off each other a lot more when you're in a room together. You can maybe you've written a vocal melody and you sing it to your bandmates and they think it's great, but they kind of suggest that your melody goes up at the end instead of going down, and it's little things like that again, working as a team to get the best end product. So live performance, you might want to test it out on an audience. Is the song too long? Does it get people interested? Stuff like that to consider. Arrangement, so like I said before, kind of looking at is the song going to be verse chorus, so on like that. Maybe the chorus should have a brass section. The violin that you've put in the outro to the song, like, does that work? Should you take it out? It's all stuff to consider, like, at this point. So then you might want to look at recording a demo. So just a rough idea of the song before you go into the studio. So it's something that you can record at home. It doesn't need to be high quality. It can just be on your phone, but just something that you've got to allow you to play along to when you're making the recording for real. So obviously recording is the next step. Bring your best. Make sure that you practiced. Make sure you know your parts. Allow yourself enough time, especially if you are paying for studio time. Allow yourself enough time that you're not going to feel stressed about not finishing. Don't be realistic with yourself. If you go in, if you book a studio for a day, and expect to come away with 12 songs, the likelihood is that that's not going to happen. It's probably better to focus on 3, maybe 4 at a push songs, and get them sounding their absolute best, rather than sort of having 12 part recorded not so good songs. Quality over quantity. Editing, like I said before, you're taking all the best parts, piecing them together. Mixing, again, blending everything. You're making that sort of balance that allows you to hear everything clearly. Mastering, so I've not really touched on this so far, but it's a really, really important stage of the process. It gets your song ready for release, essentially. So it's going to make it as loud as possible. It essentially means that if somebody plays your song on Spotify or your song's played on the radio, anything like that, and say Taylor Swift's next big hit, I like Taylor Swift, if you haven't guessed by the several references, when Taylor Swift's next big hit is played afterwards, your song is still going to stand strong. It's not going to be miles quieter than her hit, and so on like that. And then obviously release, putting it out into the world and allowing people to hear your hard work. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what some studio sessions look like in terms of like the software. So for those that are more into the sort of technology side, those of you who are studying music technology, these might look a bit familiar. So they're all screenshots from a digital audio workstation, essentially a recording software called Pro Tools. So there's many other types of software that all do the same kind of thing, but this is just what I use personally. Even if you're more performance based, it's worth understanding what's happening here, because it just affects how your music gets captured and presented. So just have a think about what you can see in each of these pictures. So I'll just give you a few seconds just to think about what's going on in this picture. Maybe see if there's anything that you recognize. Even if you don't use like a recording software, there might be stuff that you can recognize. Cool. So this screen is called the edit window. So obviously you can see there's lots of little waveforms, which are all of the pieces of audio that have been recorded in this song. You can see there are some bar lines, which are the little blue lines coming vertically down the screen. You can also see, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor actually, but at the top, sort of near the middle, there's like a little number. It says 1, and then a line 1, and then another line, and then 0, 0, 0. So that's referring to bar 1, beat 1. Underneath that, you've got a little timer counter that just shows you the amount of minutes and seconds that the song is. Moving across to the right a little bit from that, there's like a series of small rectangular buttons, and right at the very end of that first group is a little red circle. So you might recognize that as like a record button, and next to it the play button, and then you've got sort of like fast forward and stop and all those sort of things that you I was going to say that you see on a CD player, but I don't know if you use CD players, but yeah, potentially you recognize those. So this window is called a mix window. So again, just have a little look at what you can see, what you think each sort of thing might be used for. Yeah, just give you a couple of seconds. So the obvious thing to me is the faders. So these little grey rectangle things, like with the little notches out, that are on each of the channels. So each little like coloured strip is a channel. So it's a different instrument that's been recorded. They're all named, so you can see. So there's kick, snare, hi-hat, crash cymbal, so on like that. Just up from the faders, you've got this little S button, which stands for solo, so you can listen to something on its own, and then the M for mute, so you can take it out of what you're listening to. You've got the little record button as well, which is to well, it's called arming a track. It basically tells the software that you want to record that channel. But from there, you've got the pan dials. So there's two, because we're working in stereo. So the one on the left and the one on the right. So you can kind of put those wherever you want the sound to come from. You'll also notice that they're color coded. So like I was saying before, we've got all of the drums. So kick, snare, hi-hat, and crash. They're all colored blue. There's one track for bass, that's coloured red. The guitars, the next three, are all in green, so on like that. It just means that when you're working on your session, it's a lot easier to see where you are, what you're working on, stuff like that. So this next screenshot, again, if you just want to take a couple of seconds and see if you can work out what's going on in this. So this is editing. Basically, so it's done in the edit window, the one that we looked at before. It's a vocal recording, which you can probably tell from Vox and vocal all over it. Essentially, what's happening here is the bit at the top, at the very top, is the perfect take that I was talking about before, and it's made up of lots of little bits of the 4 takes that are below it. So the ones that are all different colours, and the colours match up to the colours in the top one match up to which take they've come from. So you can see like it starts off by the look of it with the first take, and then it moves to the sort of pinky one, so on like that. You've got some of the purple shade coming in further along, and the aim is just to, like I said, get rid of those parts of the takes that aren't in tune, or maybe they sung the wrong lyric. It could be anything really. So finally, for this part, just have a little look at this screen and think about what these might be, what they might be doing. So these are called plugins. They're essentially effects. So different things that you can add to your recordings to change how they sound. So the one on the top left, you might be able to see it says delay on that. So obviously that's so you've got a delay effect. So if you were to put that on my vocal, it would kind of go like hello, 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 so on like that. To the right of that, it's an EQ or equalization. So that essentially allows you to like boost the bass frequencies of a signal, or cut them, so to get rid of them, or you can do the same with any of the frequencies essentially. Then bottom, actually both of the ones on the bottom are different types of compressor, which can be an awkward sort of effect to learn how to use. It's sort of you won't hear it for ages, and then the more you work with compressors, and the more you work with audio, the more you'll start to hear the effect that it's actually having. But essentially, it takes a signal. Say if your signal's like the waveform is like this big, you can either make it smaller and kind of compress it down to this sort of height, or you can expand it and make it louder. So compressors can make quiet loud and loud quiet, in simple terms. There's probably much better explanations out there, but that's a real back to basics one. So I don't know if this is going to work, but I will try.
I believe if you click on your microphone, there's look at me being technical. I think sometimes you have to press, like, fill around the spatial audio or the noise suppression. I think sometimes it tries to suppress the noise.
Oh, okay.
That's what I've found in my experience. So if you click on your microphone in Teams, I believe, I don't know, or you just click on more audio settings.
Let's try that. Just see if you can hear these. Oh, hang on, share sound.
Oh, there we go.
See, hear that? Cool. So yeah, this is these are just a few short examples of recording work that I've been involved with. So while you listen, just have a little think about what stands out to you. What instruments can you hear? What effects can you hear? Is there a lot of reverb, for example? Are there delays going on? Can you hear distortion, anything like that? What sounds strong to you? Or even what could be improved? So this first one was a recording for some game music, actually, like a sort of fantasy game. This next one, so this is a local band called Arcadia Roots, and this is a little song, well, clip of a song that I recorded with them. So this next one, this is a little jazz trio that I recorded during my undergraduate. Again, just think about what you can hear. Think about as well how it differs to like the last two. So that one, this is from memory now because this was like 10 years ago, but that was from a like a live concert as opposed to the other two being studio recordings. So the first one, that Soulkeeper one, that was like a group recording. They were all in one room together. Run 2, the second one, that was recorded in sort of parts. So all the rhythm section were recorded first. So like the drums and the bass, I believe there might have been guitar at the same time. And then vocals were all overdubbed afterwards, so like recorded on top of what we'd previously recorded. That no particular one, that was recorded, all three of them at once during a concert. So this next one, Concord. You can have it your way, but it won't change the way you feel. You can turn things over. So that was I think of that as my first kind of outing as a producer as such. It wasn't a very good one, but what I mean by that was we were with the others. I kind of I had no creative input to the songs. You know, I was there just recording, which is fine. You know, that's a job in and of itself. That Concord one, the last one I played, the guy was very nervous. It was a guy just on his own, and he didn't really know what he wanted to leave the studio with. So it was also actually while the going off on a bit of a tangent, it was while the old conservatoire building was being demolished. So there were very few big rooms available that didn't have like a bulldozer going through them, and he wanted some drums on the track, and we had nowhere to record drums. So the percussion part in that song, the sort of snare is just us clapping, and the kick drum is him kicking his guitar case. So again, it's just one of those like I said before, you know, don't if it sounds good, go with it. You know, don't feel like you have to stick to any rules. You know, a kick drum doesn't have to be a kick drum. It can be anything. You know, let your creativity like flow with it, and that's when you'll have the most fun. So these last three, I won't kind of go over them. I'll sort of talk about them as a whole. So these are three songs that I've recorded with my current band. I feel like my recording skills and my sort of producing skills have improved a lot since the other recordings. But yeah, again, listen to what instruments you can hear, what effects you can hear, stuff like that. Oh, the future's so far away. The days just never feel the same. I made it. Oh God, silly sitting in my uni room. The feeling is ever seems to open up, and so I feel of what's to come in my up and coming years. And then this one. Finally, this one. I took a trip to another world after packing up and turning off my phone, escaping in the smoke. I wanna go and spend all of my life. A little drunk at the time, looking back. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully those weren't too painful to listen to.
What's your band called, Connor?
We're called The Lifeline.
Thank you. Download it, guys.
So, just a quick activity. I'll maybe not go through all of these because I know we're running a bit short on time, unless it's okay to go over.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine as long as it's okay with you, Connor.
Yeah, okay. So this is a really important skill in music. So being able to hear what's actually different between two things, rather than just saying that one sounds better. You know, being able to actually define what it is that makes it better. You don't need fancy language. You know, even words like clearer, punchier, muddier, more energetic, more emotional. They're all really, really useful. So these are some short clips. They start with an unmixed version, and then they're going to slowly fade into a mixed version, so you can hear the difference sort of in real time. And same as last time, think about what stands out. What instruments can you hear? What effects can you hear? What sounds strong? What could be improved? Also think about, though, what differences you can hear between the start of the clip, where it's unmixed, and the end, where it's mixed. So are the vocals clearer to understand? Maybe the drums are punchier. Did the guitar sound brighter? Just have a think about stuff like that. So here's the first one. And just turn that up a little. And the second one. And this one. I think that one sounds a little bit like Taylor Swift, but that's my opinion. So that one's a little bit harder to hear the difference, but if you are struggling, maybe just go back and just listen again. Try and focus like on the vocal and how it sort of you can almost hear like the compression starting to come in. It just sounds a lot more. You know, the volume of the vocal isn't jumping as much. It's quite consistent. Also, the flute kind of starts to come in a little bit better as the mixed version comes in. You know I have to try. Tell me why. I don't know. Will I be here tomorrow? Suddenly I feel the water covering me. The love that's in your. Last one. There's a place where you live. So yeah, just feel free to go back and listen to those again. I'll give Gemma the files as well, so you can, just in case there's like it sounds weird over the stream. But yeah, just have a listen to what changes you can hear between each version. You know, yeah, you know they sound louder when they're mixed, but try and think more about you know, how clear certain parts are before and after, as well as like how they sound tonally. Yeah. So one of the biggest parts of working in the industry is problem solving. A lot of the job is basically something isn't working and people are waiting and you need to stay calm and figure it out. It's not about never having problems, but more about knowing how to deal with them before they happen, or as quickly as possible when they happen. So I'm just going to give you some like real life scenarios. Just give you a few seconds. You can pause the video. Just have an idea. Just have a think about what you might do in these situations, or things that you could check to solve, or have a better understanding of what's going on in these situations. So number one, a singer says that they can't hear themselves on stage. What are you going to do first? So first thing that I would do they have a monitor? So do you remember in the picture that I showed you the stage setup, one of those speakers pointing up towards them? Do they have one of those to allow them to hear themselves? If so, it sounds really silly, but is it turned on? Is it turned up as well? Does the singer have their microphone signal, their vocal, is that being sent to it? If you've plugged in the wrong monitor, they could just be getting a load of guitar blasted at them and they can't hear themselves at all. So yeah, the few things that you can check there. Number two, so a microphone keeps feeding back. So if you don't know what feedback is, that's when you've got that kind of high pitched like screechy noise. So what might be causing it? So just have a think about what you think that might be. So first thing I would look at is the microphone too loud for the environment? So just because the sound system that you're working with can, pump out hundreds of decibels, doesn't mean that you always need to run it at its max. If you just need to make a piano, for example, stick out a little bit in like an orchestral environment, you're sort of acting more as like a reinforcement of the piano's actual acoustic sound, rather than amplifying it to arena or stadium levels. So consider the environment that you're working in. Is it the wrong type of microphone for the job? Again, consider, are you working in the studio? Are you working live? Are you giving a singer a mic that's more attuned to a kick drum? Stuff like that. Also, is the microphone pointed towards a speaker, one of the monitors, or like the PA, for example? That's going to be where that feedback loop starts. So yeah, don't point mics towards speakers if you can help it. Last one, a recording sounds dull or unclear. What could be the issue? So again, just have a little think about that. So first off, is it even mixed yet? Mixing takes time. You could be listening to an unmixed version of the song. If you're still in the recording phase, is the microphone placement suitable for the material that you're recording? If you think back to that jazz audio example that I played you, the drums in that sound a lot less in your face and aggressive than like the ones from my band. It doesn't mean that either one is better or wrong. It's just the genre and the environment that you're trying to capture. It could also be if the recording's dull or unclear, it could just be that it needs an effect or a plugin applied to it to make it sound more natural. It might need like some EQ, equalization. It might need just some reverb added to it, anything like that. So we're nearly there. One of the best things I would say that you can do at your stage is just start building up experience, even if it's on a small scale. So that could be recording a friend, helping out with a local event, writing your own demos, learning basic setups, or even just getting used to working with other people. The most important thing is you do not need expensive equipment to start learning useful skills. You could argue that you don't need any equipment. So just some little pointers for performers, technicians, and everyone. I'll just run through them quickly. So performers, make sure you're rehearsing with other people. As I said before, bounce off each other's creativity and ideas. You'll learn new skills as well. I'm not a drummer, but from working with drummers, I can talk to them, and I know some of the terminology that they use now, so that helps me communicate better with drummers, for example. Perform wherever possible, even if it's just to your friends and family. In the living room, perform as much as you can, because every single time that you perform is just going to make you feel that bit more confident. And you will always feel nervous, when you're going to perform. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. Write and record demos. So the best songwriters in the world will be writing hundreds of mediocre songs before they find a hit. So just keep writing. It's literally the only way to get better. And then learn basic recording and live setups. As I was saying before, really, just so that you can make yourself useful in any situation. Even if it's as simple as you're playing a gig and you understand how to plug a microphone in, and you can just save the sound technician 5 seconds plugging in your own mic and sorting your own guitar pedal board or anything like that. It all helps and it goes a long way. So looking more at technicians, practice recording anything that you can, even if it's just using the built-in microphone on your device, your phone, your iPad, your computer, anything. It doesn't even need to be music. You could record birdsong, you could record the sound of traffic. People have made music from it, musique concrète, if you want to look into it. Poetry recitals, anything. Like, just practice recording, get used to how microphones sound, where you should put them, how to add gain to them so that you can hear them, stuff like that. Learn about microphone placement and signal flow. Again, it's just going to help you learn more about how equipment works and how to troubleshoot common issues. Volunteer for events. Again, even if it's just helping, say, paint some scenery for a local theatre show, you're going to be around people with similar mindsets. You'll likely be able to shadow people as well in positions that you'd like to be in. So, say, for example, you want to learn more about sound, or maybe you want to learn more about lighting even. Just having that foot in the door and, painting that scenery for a backdrop, you can get talking to the lighting technician, the sound technician, the stage manager, whoever it is, and be able to work alongside them. Again, giving you that experience. And lastly, for technicians, I would say build a small portfolio. It doesn't necessarily need to be recordings, even if it's just a sort of CV as such, of shows that you've worked on, events that you've worked on. But showcase your work. Be proud of it. It's not easy to be proud of something that you've made. Like the songs that I played you earlier from my band, I could pick them apart really easily and tell you everything that I don't like about them. But at the same time, there's a lot that I do like, and I'm proud of being able to say that I've made that music, or we've made that music, and produced it ourselves, recorded it ourselves, mixed it ourselves, released it ourselves. Don't be shy about any of that. It's a really amazing thing to do. And then just some tips for everyone, really. Be reliable, be curious, ask questions, say yes to as many things as you can. There's some of the best work that I've got is just from saying yes to opportunities. One of the most useful things I can tell you, people will notice talent, but they also notice when you turn up ready to work, whether you're easy to work with, whether you can take feedback, whether you stay useful when things get stressful. So just a little, cloud of characteristics will say that that the industry really values. So reliability, like I said, show up on time to everything. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how unimportant you think it is. Show up on time and people will notice. Adaptability. So be prepared for plans to change. It might not always be an ideal situation, but make the most out of it. Professionalism. Pardon me. So look smart. And that doesn't necessarily mean shirt and tie, but keep yourself clean and tidy and keep your workplace clean and tidy. And again, people will remember stuff like that. Communication, I've said it so many times already, but talk to other people, tell them what you plan to do, let them talk to you about their opinion on it, and then decide if and how you're going to implement that to make your ideas even better. Problem solving. Again, think logically, keep a level head in your stressful moments. Musical awareness, there is an element of that, even if it's just basic understanding, of tempos, time signatures, how notes are interacting with each other through harmony, stuff like that. Having a good attitude, smile. It's it's really important to smile. You're working in a really fun industry with some really, really cool people, and it's surprisingly easy to forget that sometimes. Preparedness. So performers, bring an extra guitar to the gig, bring a spare vocal mic maybe. Technicians, even stuff like carrying a roll of electrical tape with you. So when you're packing down after a performance, you can take your cables up and keep it nice and tidy. Again, going back to the professionalism and preparedness. And finally, kindness. As I said before, reputation matters so much in this industry, and even if it doesn't seem like it at first, it's a really small industry. If you're rude to someone or you're just a huge pain to work with, word is going to travel far, and it's going to affect how easily you get work again. So, finally, any questions? Yeah, I've got some sort of prepared in case. Unless you've got any that you want to ask, Gemma?
I think you've answered so much already. I think it was just, for me, it's really interesting hearing your experiences and your journey into the music industry. My only question really is, what's your preference? What do you prefer doing most? What do you enjoy doing most out of all the roles that you do and all the experiences you've had?
I would say performing. So I when I started university, I sort of took a back seat on bands for like 4 years or so, and I did a lot of live sound work during that time, and it was great. I loved it at the time. When I started playing in bands again, and when I was on stage and able to kind of, I hate being the center of attention, but like when I'm on stage with like a group of people, I feel like that attention's sort of divided, so it's a bit easier. But like just that feeling of being on stage and like people are there to see you, yeah, that was when I was sort of like, yeah, I want to do this more. The live sound stuff pays well, and the studio work is very, very fun. And I'm lucky with this band in that I sort of get to do all of it in one. But yeah, performing is definitely my preference.
Yeah, I think it's really good for people to, really great for the students to understand how versatile music is. So it's not just you go into one avenue of it. You get to do the bits that you love, the bits that you're passionate about, the bits that are fun, and that's your job. How amazing is that you get to do something that you love every single day? Exactly. And you make your income out of it. You live off that, and I think that's a really important message, that there's more out there than what people might initially think. And I think it's an exciting industry to work in, especially at the moment. What questions did you have sort of penned down there, Connor, just out of curiosity?
I'd put would it help if I talked a bit more about how I got my first opportunities, which I feel like I kind of spoke about a bit already, but it was literally all word of mouth. I think I've only done one interview, like like a job interview for any of my like music work. And that was it. I mean, it wasn't even really an interview. It was more of a sort of practical test thing for Symphony Hall. They just got you to set up a BA and just make sure that you've got a basic understanding of what you're doing. Really, everything else has just been people recommending me from other jobs. Whether that's friends or colleagues or anything like that.
Is social media a big part of it, kind of, would you say, for you in the areas you work in? So having a good presence on social media and having connections by social media.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm pretty bad with social media. I like I said before, the first kind of live sound work that I got was through Facebook from a local band. And as a performer, even more important, the majority of the gigs that we get as a band are through social media, Instagram, TikTok, stuff like that. Just people reaching out to you, asking, do you want to play this gig? But also, you reaching out to them and trying to get on lineups that are relevant and fun.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, I interrupted you. Is there any other questions that you think could be of interest to us?
Well, I've written down. Do you want to know what I wish I'd known at your age? But I think that kind of is covered in my next slide because I've just got a final note slide as well.
Yeah, go for it.
So I just wrote a little bit here, and essentially, a music career isn't just about being on stage or using software. It's about making music happen as well. So that means creativity, technical skill, communication, and problem solving all matter. You could be performing at Glastonbury one afternoon. You could be teaching a student how to play the guitar the following morning, then running the sound desk at a local open mic night the following evening. But every opportunity is important and is going to help you grow. You shouldn't turn your nose down at something because you think it's lower than you or anything. Always be open to every opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's really amazing advice. I really do, Connor. And I think, everything you've shared tonight is so important for people to understand how broad the industry is, how connections matter. I mean, let's take you and I, for example. How long have we known each other now? Many, many years. How old are you now, Connor?
30.
Oh God, that makes
12
me feel old.
years.
But it's a long.
More than that. 14 years we've known each other.
It's a long time, isn't it? But we've kept that connection. We've done a lot of workshops together throughout my career and your own. And I think, this is just a small example of the kind of connections that matter, and even though this is this obviously isn't your day-to-day job, but actually building these connections with people, even from my angle as a music teacher, I still keep connections with universities. I still keep connections with musicians or people that have gone on to study music, because it's a really important part of my role. And I think you've shown today how important that connection has been for you as a live musician, as a studio technician, in every aspect of your music career. Building those connections with your community, with the music community, is really, really valuable. And I think that's been really lovely to take away. Also, I've downloaded your 2 songs. I didn't realize that you had 2 more out, so I've downloaded those.
Oh yeah.
Not downloaded them. You like them now, don't you? Add them to your playlist. You know what I mean. I'm old.
We've just come out of the studio actually recording our first album, so that'll be released later this year.
Yeah, I really recommend give them a follow, guys. Is that what you do? Give them a follow? Is that the right?
I think so. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm too old for this.
But give them a follow, or whatever it is that you do now with music, because they are absolutely fantastic. I know I've passed you guys on to a few of my friends who've gone, oh, okay, these are really cool. So yeah, do always support. But yeah, thank you so much, Connor. It's been so amazing having you. Yeah. Thank you. Really appreciate it. What I'll do is I'll stop the recording now, and then we'll have a quick chat before we finish.
Cool.
Okay.